The Tralara cluster shone like scattered jewels across the endless black of space. Gas giants glowed with molten hues, moons orbited in quiet harmony, and distant suns bathed the region in a soft golden light. Among the Alliance's massive warships and diplomatic cruisers, one vessel moved with a quiet confidence, the USS Horizon, humanity's newest starship. Its sleek silver hull reflected the light like a shard of metal cutting through darkness. On the bridge, Captain Elena Cross stood with her hands clasped behind her back, her dark hair pulled into a practical braid. She studied the viewports, her mind racing with calculations and strategy. Every alien diplomat, every officer from other civilizations expected humans to be fragile, slow, and unpredictable. They were about to discover how wrong they were. "Are we really ready for this?" Lieutenant Jax Moreno, the ship's navigator, asked, his voice betraying a hint of nervous excitement. He leaned over the holo map, tracing the flight paths of alien cruisers with his finger. "Ready or not," Elena said with a small smile, "we're here, and humans never back down." Orbiting Tralara Prime, the diplomatic hub of the intergalactic Alliance, the Horizon glided into view. The enormous space station pulsed with energy, its docking bays filled with ships of every imaginable shape and size. Towering Griffinites, with golden exoskeletons and mandibles that clicked like weapons, whispered among themselves. Slick, serpentine virulins, translucent and glimmering, swayed in the zero-gravity currents. All eyes were on the human ship. "Humans," hissed Ambassador Takor of the Virulans, voice smooth but venomous. "Your species is quaint. Do you understand the protocols? Mistakes here could be catastrophic." Elena's jaw tightened. "We understand perfectly, and we don't make mistakes." Even as she spoke, she sensed the unease in the other species. Humans were new. Their history, though short in galactic terms, was filled with struggle, adaptation, and survival against impossible odds. Other species had centuries of technology, diplomacy, and war behind them. Humans had something else. Ingenuity, determination, a stubbornness no algorithm could predict. "Captain," Jack said softly, pointing at the sensors, "something's approaching. And it's fast." The console blared red, alarms cutting through the calm. Elena's eyes narrowed. On the main screen, a massive fleet emerged from hyperspace. Unlike any ship recorded in Alliance history, the alien vessels were enormous, dark, and angular, bristling with unknown weapon systems. The readings were chaotic. Their energy signatures defied standard analysis. "They're here," Elena said, voice calm but firm. And they didn't come for diplomacy. The aliens on the station froze. Griffinites' mandibles clicked nervously. Virulence tendrils twitched in alarm. The entire diplomatic hub seemed to hold its breath. Humans, often underestimated, were the only ones ready to act immediately. Elena moved swiftly across the bridge, giving orders with clarity and authority. "All systems online. Shields at maximum. Weapons calibrated. Moreno, plot an intercept course. Let's show them why humans survive." The Horizon surged forward, diving toward the approaching fleet. Red and blue energy beams streaked across space, bouncing off shields, exploding in brilliant bursts of light. Humans didn't have the largest fleet, but they had speed, adaptability, and tactics no one expected. Elena's fingers flew across the controls, adjusting angles, firing countermeasures, and coordinating defensive patterns. "Evasive maneuvers," she ordered, her voice steady, cutting through the chaos. "Keep them focused on us, not the station. We hold the line." Jax grinned, adrenaline sharpening his instincts. Only humans would take the smallest ship and make it the spear. The enemy fired again, plasma streaking through space with deadly precision. A Griffinite cruiser was destroyed in the distance, and the station's alarms screamed. Yet the Horizon danced through the attack with impossible agility. Humans didn't rely on brute force alone. They anticipated, adapted, and struck where others expected weakness. On the bridge, Elena's team moved as one. Lieutenant Mara Chen, weapons officer, coordinated the energy cannons with unerring accuracy. Engineer Arlo Singh rerouted power to shields in milliseconds, compensating for damages before alarms even sounded. Every human knew their role and executed it flawlessly, turning the Horizon into a machine of precision against an overwhelming enemy. "Captain," Jax said, voice tight. "We're drawing them in closer. They're chasing us." "Exactly where? We want them." Elena smiled grimly. "Good. Humans don't just fight, we think. And that's something no one can predict." The alien commanders, confident and arrogant, had assumed humans would panic, retreat, or fail. They had not counted on ingenuity, on stubborn courage, on the raw unpredictability of human strategy. Elena's team led the enemy fleet into a narrow asteroid belt, weaving through dense fields of rock, using the Horizon's size and speed to their advantage. Larger alien ships struggled to follow, colliding or being forced to break formation. Amid the chaos, Elena looked at her crew. Sweat dotted foreheads, fingers moved faster than eyes could follow, hearts pounded, but their eyes were bright, fierce, with determination. This was humanity in its rawest form, unyielding, fearless, and united. And though the Alliance still doubted them, though the galaxy had only begun to take notice, Elena knew the truth. Humans were more than they appeared. They were the first civilization in spirit, survivors of a harsh planet, explorers who had conquered fear and hardship. And now, as the enemy faltered under human ingenuity, the galaxy would realize the mistake it had made in underestimating them. For the first time, humans were not just participants in the Galactic Alliance. They were the spearhead, the wild card, the force no one had predicted. And as the Horizon darted through the asteroid belt, luring enemies into chaos, Elena whispered, almost to herself, but loud enough for Jax to hear, "Let them watch. Let them all watch. Humanity has only begun." The Trilara cluster, once a serene jewel of diplomacy, erupted into chaos. The approaching alien fleet, dark and angular, now glimmered with deadly intent. Its energy weapons charged, sending arcs of raw power across space. The Alliance ships scrambled, alarms blaring, but hesitation ruled their command. Only the USS. Horizon moved with clarity and purpose. Captain Elena Cross gripped the console. Her eyes, sharp and unwavering, scanned the fleet as if reading a living map. "Moreno," she said, voice firm, "I want the enemy formation broken before they reach the station. Draw them toward the belt. We'll make them choke on their arrogance." Lieutenant Jax Moreno nodded, fingers flying over controls. "Course," plotted. "Engaging evasive maneuvers. Brace for incoming fire." The Horizon surged forward. Alien energy bolts streaked past, sizzling against shields. The ship shuddered as small impacts rocked the hull, but Elena's crew did not flinch. Lieutenant Mara Chen, weapons officer, synchronized the cannons with deadly precision. "Targeting," lead ships, calculating trajectory to force them into the asteroids. A massive Griffinite warship fired a beam wide enough to flatten moons. Elena barely had time to react. "Shields to maximum! Evasive pattern delta!" she commanded. The Horizon twisted and dove, narrowly slipping through a deadly barrage. Explosions erupted behind them as enemy ships miscalculated the asteroid field. "Captain," Jax said, eyes wide, "they're splitting! Half are falling into the belt." Elena's lips curved into a determined smile. "Good. Let's give them a welcome humans never forget." The Horizon led the smaller alien contingent deeper into the asteroid belt. Ships collided, weapons overloaded, and massive explosions painted the void with fire. But the humans did not pursue blindly. They predicted every move, adapting in real time. Engineer Arlo Singh rerouted power to thrusters, giving the ship impossible acceleration and allowing it to dance between asteroids with unnatural precision. On the bridge, tension was thick. Sweat ran down foreheads, fingers flew over controls. Hearts pounded in rhythm with the ship's engines. Every crew member knew the stakes. The Alliance's flagship, the diplomatic station, hung vulnerable in orbit. If it fell, the political and strategic damage would be catastrophic. Elena's mind raced. She noticed the enemy fleet's pattern. They were arrogant, assuming brute force would overwhelm humans. But humans thrived on unpredictability. "Chen," she said, "I want a decoy volley. Fire a false signal. Make them think we're retreating. Lead their command ship into the canyon of asteroids." Mara's fingers danced across the console. Decoy launched. They're taking the bait. The enemy flagship charged forward, tearing through space with deadly speed, its massive weapons locked on. Elena's heart pounded. "Hold steady," she whispered. The Horizon's hull groaned as it veered through a narrow gap between two massive asteroids. The alien flagship followed blindly, and then disaster struck. The ship collided with the asteroids, energy shields failing against the relentless rock. A blinding explosion shattered its hull, and the flagship tumbled into the void, leaving the fleet in disarray. Jax exhaled sharply. They're losing formation. We did it." Elena nodded, but her gaze remained fixed on the remaining ships. "Not over yet. Keep them off the station. Every second counts." The Horizon darted back toward Tralara Prime, drawing fire as smaller alien cruisers pursued. Humans were smaller in number and size, but their speed, ingenuity, and coordination made them lethal. Each move was calculated, each maneuver designed to outsmart, not overpower. Above the chaos, the dip. The wreckage of the alien fleet floated silently in the Tralara cluster, a grim reminder of humanity's unexpected victory. The USS Horizon drifted above the remains, its hull scarred but intact. Captain Elena Cross watched from the bridge, the glow of distant stars reflecting in her eyes. The crew was exhausted, but their spirits burned brighter than ever. Humans had proven themselves, yet the victory felt incomplete. "Captain," Lieutenant Jax Moreno said, breaking the silence, "we've scanned the remnants. No communication signals. It's almost like they vanished into nothing." Elena frowned. "Nothing disappears, not like this. Someone or something is hiding the truth." Her instincts, honed through years of navigating Earth's wars and crises, warned her. Humans survived not just by fighting, they survived by noticing what others overlooked. Back on Tralara Prime, the Alliance Council convened urgently. Griffonites, Virelans, and a dozen other species crowded the chamber, voices overlapping in panic and confusion. Ambassador Takor eyed the humans with thinly veiled suspicion. "Captain Cross," he said, voice tight, "while your unique tactics were effective, there are reports that the fleet was allowed to advance unusually far. It almost seemed like a setup." Elena's eyes narrowed. "A setup? What are you implying?" Takor hesitated. We suspect internal betrayal. Perhaps someone within the Alliance is aiding this enemy? The timing. Too precise. Too convenient." The room fell silent. Murmurs ran like wildfire through the council. Humanity had just saved the cluster, but now the very foundation of the Alliance seemed unstable. Elena's stomach tightened. Humans thrived in chaos, but this was something deeper. On the horizon, Elena gathered her officers. "We've seen one wave," she began, voice firm. "But someone inside the Alliance knows how to manipulate events. If we don't act fast, the next strike will hit us where it hurts most." Engineer Arlo Singh leaned forward. "How do we track someone within the Alliance? Their systems are encrypted, advanced, and politically protected." Elena's gaze hardened. We do what humans do best. We observe, we connect the dots, we find patterns where others see noise. Lieutenant Mara Chen added, we can scan for irregular hyperspace jumps, unauthorized comms, hidden energy signatures, any trace of sabotage. Exactly, Elena said. We follow the trail, and we'll need more than sensors. We'll need intuition. The horizon slipped silently through space, scanning Alliance networks, hidden warp routes, and anomalies in diplomatic channels. Humans had few advantages compared to centuries-old civilizations. They didn't have the largest fleets or the most advanced AI, but they had something even older: adaptability. Days passed. Each scan revealed subtle signs, encrypted messages, hidden in legitimate transmissions, missing ship logs and hyperspace coordinates that didn't match any known patrol routes. Slowly, a pattern emerged. Elena's mind worked like a living map, connecting each clue. Captain, Jax said one night, voice tense. There's a cluster of these anomalies near the outer rim of the Trilara sector. Whoever is behind this is moving fast. If we don't intercept them, Elena cut him off. Then we catch them before they strike. Humanity has a way of turning disadvantages into strength. We'll do it again. We always do. Meanwhile, back on the council station, whispers of doubt about humans began to vanish. Griffinites muttered to one another, Virulens paused their criticisms, and even Takor's icy demeanor faltered. Humans were small, underestimated, and untested in politics, but their courage and insight were undeniable. The horizon approached the outer rim, a void of asteroids and gas clouds. Sensors picked up multiple signatures, small, fast vessels cloaked in stealth technology. Elena's pulse quickened. That's them, she said softly. Our ghosts. The stealth ships darted from one hiding spot to another, firing bursts of energy at long range, attempting to sabotage Alliance supply lines. Yet the horizon anticipated every move. Using clever maneuvers and misdirection, Elena led the enemy into a dense asteroid field where their stealth technology became useless. Now, she yelled. Mara released a concentrated pulse of electromagnetic energy. The stealth ships flickered and appeared, caught in the open. Energy blasts disabled engines, and the ships were forced to retreat, damaged and frustrated. But then, the twist became clear. Among the enemy vessels, one carried a familiar insignia, an Alliance symbol. Betrayal. Someone inside the Alliance had provided the enemy with maps, coordinates, and knowledge of defense patterns. Elena's jaw tightened. Humans had always faced betrayal and adversity on their home planet. They had survived wars, disasters, and deceit. Now, even in the stars, that resilience would guide them. She turned to her crew. This isn't just about fighting outsiders, she said. It's about protecting trust, unity, and the lives of everyone in the Alliance. We adapt, we endure, we outthink. We survive. Jax's hands flew over the controls. Captain, they're splitting again. Trying to scatter. Elena smiled, sharp and determined. Good. Humans never fight the way anyone expects. We'll corner them, isolate them, and expose the traitor. Follow my lead. As the horizon darted through the chaos, dodging attacks, and forcing the enemy into predictable traps, the crew realized the truth. Humans didn't just react. They imagined possibilities others couldn't see. They were chaos, courage, and creativity rolled into one species. And in that unpredictable brilliance lay their greatest weapon. Above the battle, Elena whispered, almost to herself, yet firm and proud. Let the galaxy see. Betrayal may hide in shadows, but humans shine in the dark. And somewhere, deep, in the outer rim, the traitor would soon realize the cost of underestimating them. Humanity's resolve was unbreakable, their cunning unmatched, and their unity unstoppable. The outer rim of the Trilara cluster was quiet, almost eerily so. Clouds of amber gas swirled around jagged asteroid fields, casting shifting shadows across the void. The USS Horizon drifted through the darkness, sensors straining for the faintest trace of the hidden enemy. Captain Elena Cross sat in the command chair, jaw tight, eyes scanning data streams that flickered across the console. Every anomaly, every stealth reading, brought them closer to uncovering the truth. Lieutenant Jax Moreno broke the silence. "Captain, I've isolated a pattern in the energy pulses. They're not just random attacks. Someone is coordinating this from inside the Alliance, and they're close." Elena's lips pressed into a thin line. Humans had survived countless betrayals on Earth, but this betrayal in the stars carried stakes beyond imagination. "Then we stop them," she said simply. "We do what humans always do. Adapt, endure, outthink. No hesitation." The horizon slipped into a dense field of floating debris, remnants of destroyed enemy ships and natural asteroid formations. Cloaked vessels darted between shadows, firing bursts of energy that fizzled harmlessly against human shields. But Elena didn't panic. She had seen patterns where others saw chaos. "Chen," she ordered, "we need a countermeasure that exposes them without risking the station. Use the electromagnetic pulse. Time it with my maneuver." Mara's fingers flew over the controls. "Pulse ready. Awaiting your signal." Elena's mind raced. The enemy had expected humans to react predictably, to rely solely on brute force or direct attack. But humans were unpredictable. They thrived in uncertainty, turning fear into opportunity. She imagined the enemy's calculations and disrupted them before they could act. "Now!" she barked. Mara released the pulse. Invisible fields rippled through space, revealing the cloaked vessels. Sensors blinked madly as the enemy ships became visible, caught in the open. Jax's grin was sharp and tense. "They're exposed! Full! Evasive formation ready!" The horizon darted forward, weaving through asteroids and drawing the enemy fleet into a trap. Every move was precise, calculated with human intuition that no AI or centuries-old military protocol could predict. Engines flared, energy shields pulsed, and the silence of space exploded with light as the first shots hit. Then, the traitor revealed themselves. On the main screen appeared a ship bearing the Alliance's insignia, but twisted, corrupted, altered. Its commander's face was visible in the holographic feed. Admiral Relith, a Griffonite of immense reputation and influence, smiling coldly. "Captain Cross," Relith's voice boomed across the comm, metallic and commanding. "Humans are clever, I'll give you that. But cleverness will not save your precious alliance. The galaxy evolves and your time is short." Elena felt a chill, but her voice remained steady. "Admiral, betrayal only reveals weakness. And humans, we survive. Weakness every day." Relith laughed, a sound like grinding metal. "Then you will see what happens when you face the first true galactic power. Your ingenuity is meaningless against inevitability." Elena's hands tightened around the console. "No, humans turn inevitability into opportunity. We adapt, we endure, and we fight differently than anyone expects." The horizon surged forward. Using the asteroid field, Elena split the enemy fleet, forcing smaller vessels into collisions or immobilizing them with clever gravitational calculations. Mara fired concentrated blasts, each strike precise, taking advantage of weaknesses humans had noticed, but others would have missed. Engineer Arlo Singh rerouted shields, reinforcing sections just as they were hit, buying milliseconds that meant survival. Every crew member moved in perfect harmony, their courage and determination a living weapon. Yet the battle was not just physical, it was mental. Relith tried to anticipate. The Trilara cluster, once a place of calm diplomacy, now felt like a battlefield waiting to erupt. Captain Elena Cross stared at the main view screen of the USS Horizon, the stars beyond reflecting in her determined eyes. Reports had come in. Relith's betrayal was only the beginning. A massive alien fleet, previously hidden beyond the outer rim, was now moving at impossible speed toward the heart of the Alliance. "Captain," Lieutenant Jax Moreno said, pointing to the tactical display, "the fleet isn't just big, it's enormous. Hundreds of ships, each bristling with weapons unlike anything we've seen. If they reach Trelara Prime, the Alliance won't survive." Elena's jaw tightened. Humans had faced impossible odds before, not in space, but on Earth. They had survived wars, disasters, and betrayals, and now, in the stars, that same resilience would be their greatest weapon. "Prepare the ship for maximum maneuverability," Elena commanded. "Engineer Singh, shields and thrusters at peak output. Chen, weapons calibrated for precision strikes. We're going to slow them down, buy the Alliance time, and show them why humans survive when others would fall." Arlo Singh's fingers danced over the control panels. Shields at 95% efficiency. Thrusters optimized for rapid evasive maneuvers. Mara Chen's eyes gleamed with determination. "Weapons are ready. Let's give them a reason to rethink their attack." The horizon surged forward, faster than anyone expected for a human vessel. The alien fleet loomed, immense and terrifying, a wall of dark metal and glowing weapons. The first volleys struck. Shields flared, energy rippling across the horizon's hull. Every hit was a reminder. Humans were outmatched in firepower, but humans were never predictable. Elena's mind raced, connecting the stars, asteroids, and gravitational anomalies around them. "Jax, lead them through the Syndral Nebula. They'll lose formation. Their numbers will work against them." Jax's hands flew over the controls. Course plotted, engaging evasive maneuvers. The horizon darted into the swirling gases of the nebula. Colors of orange, violet, and green lit the sensors. Visibility dropped, weapons accuracy faltered, and the massive alien fleet struggled to keep formation. Human unpredictability, paired with deep knowledge of tactics and intuition, turned the seemingly impossible situation in their favor. "Captain," Chen said, voice tight with excitement, "their command ships are trying to adjust. If we strike now?" Elena nodded. "Then we strike. Fire concentrated volleys, but don't destroy. Disable and delay. Every second counts." Energy bolts lanced through the nebula, arcs of light cutting through swirling gases. Alien ships faltered, engines overloaded, some colliding with one another as the horizon darted between them like a phantom. Humans didn't rely on brute force. They used precision, strategy, and instinct. Yet even as the horizon executed its maneuvers, Elena knew the real test wasn't the enemy fleet. It was unity. Humans had to inspire the Alliance to act. Communicators relayed rapid orders to nearby Alliance ships, coordinating maneuvers that no other species would have dared attempt in such chaos. "Alliance vessels are responding," Jax reported. "They're following our lead, but hesitantly." Elena's eyes softened for a moment, seeing the tentative trust form. Humans had a way of drawing courage from others. They didn't just survive, they ignited it in those around them. "Good," she said. "Keep pushing. Make them trust their instincts, not their technology. Humans adapt faster than any machine or rigid system." The horizon led the enemy fleet through a narrow canyon of asteroids. Massive alien cruisers, too large to maneuver with the same agility, began to crash, colliding with asteroids or becoming trapped. Smaller ships tried to escape, but humans anticipated every route. Chen's precise fire disabled engines and weapon systems. Singh's shields protected the horizon from retaliatory strikes. Jax's navigation turned every hazard into a weapon. Despite exhaustion, the crew's spirits were unbreakable. They moved as one, each human instinctively knowing the next move, every heart beating in unison. They were outnumbered, outgunned, and outclassed, but not outmatched. Suddenly, A massive pulse of energy rippled from the enemy flagship. The horizons, shields groaned. Elena gritted her teeth. Divert everything to forward shields. Brace for impact. The pulse hit, shaking the horizon, throwing consoles into chaos. But the ship held. Humans had endured far worse. Fear was transformed into focus, chaos into strategy. Elena seized the moment. Now, Chen! Strike the flagship's propulsion! Mara's fingers moved with lightning speed. Energy beams tore into the alien flagship. Sparks and fire danced across its hull. The massive ship faltered, losing speed, its fleet disorganized. Elena leaned back, exhaustion weighing on her shoulders, yet a fierce pride glimmered in her eyes. Humans, she whispered, turn the impossible into reality. The Alliance ships, inspired by the Horizon's daring maneuvers, pressed forward. Together, humans and allies turned the tide. Enemy ships faltered, retreated, or were trapped. Even the mightiest vessels of the alien fleet were forced to surrender the advantage. As the Horizon led the retreating enemy through the nebula, Elena felt a mix of relief and exhilaration. The battle was far from over, but one truth had become clear. Humans weren't just survivors. They were catalysts. They could inspire courage, outthink opponents, and turn despair into hope. She looked at her crew, every face glowing with determination and fatigue. "The galaxy underestimates us," she said softly. "But they'll learn. We're not just fighters. We're humans. We endure. We inspire. We survive. No matter the odds." Jack smiled, wiping sweat from his brow. "Captain, if the galaxy survives this, it's because of humans like us." Elena nodded, feeling the weight of responsibility, but also the fire of pride. The Horizon sailed through the nebula, a small ship with an enormous impact. And somewhere deep in the void, the enemy would carry a lesson they would never forget. Humans fight differently, think differently, and survive differently. As the stars shimmered around them, Elena whispered, almost to herself but loud enough for the crew, "Let the galaxy watch. Humanity doesn't just survive. We turn the impossible into triumph." The Horizon drifted at the edge of the Xerillian expanse, a field of glittering stars and drifting debris. The alien fleet, though battered, had regrouped. Their flagship, scarred but operational, hung like a predator waiting to strike. Captain Elena Cross stood on the bridge, eyes sharp, mind calculating. The galaxy's fate and the fragile trust of the Alliance rested on her crew and on humanity itself. Lieutenant Jax Moreno tapped at the console nervously. "Captain, the fleet is reorganizing. They've learned from our last engagement. They're coordinating more efficiently now." Elena's gaze didn't waver. "Then we evolve faster. Humans survive by thinking differently. We find angles no one expects. Prepare for maneuvers they cannot predict." Engineer Arlo Singh nodded, rerouting power. "Shields at maximum, engines optimized for rapid maneuvers. We can make sudden shifts in trajectory that would throw any computer off." Weapons Officer Mara Chen tightened her grip. "And our weapons? Ready to hit multiple targets simultaneously." "Good," Elena said. "We need more than firepower. We need cunning, speed, and courage. Every human trait that no algorithm can anticipate will be our advantage." The Horizon surged forward, weaving through the void with impossible precision. The alien fleet fired relentlessly. Energy beams lanced through space, each blast threatening to tear the hull apart. Sparks and alarms erupted across the bridge, but Elena's crew did not falter. "Focus," she commanded, her voice calm but commanding. "Let them aim where they think we are. We'll strike where they never expect." Jax grinned. Humans do love the unexpected. Elena's mind raced. The enemy relied on brute force and patterns. They assumed predictability, but humans thrived on adaptability, intuition, and boldness. She calculated a maneuver, a sudden dive into a dense cluster of asteroids, narrow enough to be deadly for the largest alien ships. "Follow my lead," Elena said. "Every human instinct counts. Trust it." The horizon twisted and spun, engines flaring. Alien ships tried to follow but were too large, too rigid. One massive cruiser collided with an asteroid, exploding in a cascade of fire. Others faltered, firing blindly, their formation crumbling. "Now, Chen!" Elena yelled. Mara unleashed concentrated bursts at the enemy's exposed engines, disabling key ships. Sparks danced across space, reflecting in the crew's eyes. The flagship hesitated, massive but slow. Elena's pulse quickened. This was their moment. She calculated a final move, one that relied not on the largest weapon but on human ingenuity. "Jax, target the fleet's formation nodes," she ordered. "Sing, redirect auxiliary power to the decoy drones. Chen, prepare a synchronized strike." The horizon launched dozens of small drones, each emitting signals that mimicked human ships. The enemy's sensors, overwhelmed and confused, targeted the decoys. Elena seized the opening. The horizon darted through the chaos, striking critical weak points with surgical precision. Explosions lit the void. Alien ships faltered, retreating in disorder. The flagship tried to regroup, but it was trapped in a web of human strategy. Elena's plan was not brute force. It was unpredictability, courage, and unity combined into a weapon no alien could. Calculate. Jax watched in awe. "They can't handle this. Humanity. It's like we're everywhere at once." Elena's lips curved into a faint smile. "Every human instinct, every connection we've trained, every split-second decisi." The Trilara cluster was quiet now, but the silence carried weight. The debris of the defeated alien fleet floated in the void, a testament to the courage of the USS Horizon and its crew. Captain Elena Cross stood on the bridge, looking at the stars beyond. Exhaustion lined her face, but pride burned in her chest. Humanity had faced overwhelming odds and prevailed, not through brute force, but through courage, unity, and ingenuity. Lieutenant Jax Moreno leaned against the console, finally allowing himself a moment to breathe. "Captain, we did it. I can't believe we did it." Elena smiled faintly. "We didn't just survive, Jax. We showed the galaxy what humans can do when we refuse to give up." Engineer Arlo Singh wiped sweat from his brow. "The horizon barely holds together, but she held us through hell. I think she knows we can't. Quit, no matter the odds." Mara Chen's eyes were bright, reflecting the stars. "The enemy fleet. They underestimated us completely. They thought strategy and firepower would be enough. They didn't account for humans." Elena's gaze softened. "They never do." Back on Trilara Prime, the Alliance Council gathered once more. Ambassadors from dozens of species spoke in hushed tones. Griffinites, who had once doubted humanity's place in the Alliance, now watched the horizon's return with awe. Virulans whispered in astonishment. Even Ambassador Takor, stoic and skeptical, nodded with newfound respect. The council chamber buzzed with emotion, fear, relief, pride, and wonder. Humans had faced the impossible and endured. But the most striking revelation was not the victory itself. It was the way humans achieved it. Elena addressed the council via holographic feed, her voice steady and inspiring. "The horizon is small, but humans are not measured by size or technology alone. We survive by thinking, by feeling, by acting together. We inspire courage, unity, and creativity. That is our strength." Whispers spread across the chamber. Even the oldest, most experienced diplomats felt the truth in her words. Humans were unpredictable, adaptable, and driven not just by logic, but by determination and heart. In the calm, After the storm, the Horizon's crew took a moment to breathe. They had fought space storms, alien fleets, and betrayal. They had faced fear and danger at every turn. And they had survived because of the qualities that made humans unique. Jax looked at Elena, admiration clear in his eyes. "You knew we could do it, didn't you?" Elena shook her head. "I didn't just know. I trusted it. Humans have a way of rising when everything seems lost. That's why we're still here." Arlo grinned. "And we'll keep being here. I think the galaxy just learned something about humans they won't forget." Mara laughed softly, exhaustion and joy mingling. "They'll have nightmares about us in their sleep, not because we're violent, but because we're unstoppable in ways they can't predict." Elena's gaze drifted to the stars again. The horizon floated in the vast expanse, small but significant, a beacon of resilience. Humans had proven that survival was not just about weapons or fleets. It was about heart, creativity, and unity. Somewhere in the void, remnants of the alien fleet would carry the lesson of human ingenuity and courage. Anywhere a species underestimated humanity, that assumption would now be shattered. But Elena also knew the galaxy was fragile. Victory today did not guarantee peace tomorrow. Humans had to continue to adapt, to inspire, and to protect the Alliance from threats both external and internal. The galaxy would watch, and humans would rise again, ready to meet whatever challenge came next. "Humans," Elena whispered to her crew, "we are small, underestimated, and unstoppable when we act as one. Remember this moment. Remember who we are." The crew nodded, hearts swelling with pride. They had seen fear, danger, and uncertainty. And yet, they had emerged stronger, wiser, and more united than ever. As the Horizon prepared for a return to the Alliance station, Elena allowed herself a rare moment of reflection. Humans had been underestimated for centuries, but now the galaxy knew courage, unity, and ingenuity could defy any odds. The stars glittered around them, silent witnesses to their triumph. Elena knew one thing with certainty. Humans were not just participants in the galaxy's story. They were catalysts, sparking change and inspiring hope wherever they went. She looked at her crew, each face glowing with determination and pride. "We've shown the galaxy what humans can do, and this is only the beginning." Jax smiled, leaning back. "I think the galaxy will never forget us now." Elena's eyes reflected the stars, calm and fierce at once. "No, they won't. And that's exactly how it should be." For the first time in the long campaign, the crew allowed themselves to smile without fear. They had faced betrayal, overwhelming enemies, and the darkest corners of space, and they had endured. Humans had proven that even the smallest, most underestimated species could change the course of history. In the distance, the remains of the alien fleet drifted silently, a reminder that humanity's fight was far from over. Yet the Horizon sailed on, carrying the crew and the proof of human resilience, courage, and unity toward whatever challenges awaited. Elena whispered, almost to herself, but with conviction that filled the ship. "Let the galaxy remember one truth: humans are small, underestimated, and unstoppable when the time comes." The Horizon glided through the stars, leaving behind a trail of hope, pride, and the undeniable mark of humanity. The galaxy would never underestimate them again. The Horizon drifted through the dark expanse of the Trelara void, its hull scarred from countless battles, its crew weary but unbroken. Captain Elena Cross stood on the bridge, eyes scanning the distant cluster of enemy ships. The remnants of the alien fleet had gathered again, larger and more coordinated than ever. But humanity had learned. Humans had survived impossible odds, betrayed allies, and fought in ways no species could anticipate. And now, the final challenge awaited. Lieutenant Jax Moreno tapped the tactical display nervously. "Captain, their numbers are overwhelming. Every standard tactic will fail. Even with the Alliance's support, they'll crush us if we don't do something different." Elena's gaze was steady, sharp, burning with determination. "Then we do what humans always do. We turn the impossible into opportunity. We fight in ways they cannot calculate, predict, or resist. Prepare the crew. We're going to show the galaxy exactly who humans are." Engineer Arlo Singh looked up, exhausted but ready. "Captain, all systems are prepped. Shields, engines, weapons, everything optimized for maximum unpredictability." Mara Chen's eyes glimmered with quiet excitement. "Let's make history, Captain. Time to remind them why humans survive." Elena nodded. "We'll need every ounce of skill, courage, and creativity. Humans are small, underestimated, but unstoppable when we act as one." The horizon surged forward. The alien fleet opened. Fire. Energy beams slicing through space, but Elena's maneuvers were lightning fast, weaving the ship between asteroids, debris, and the void itself. The enemy tried to anticipate, but humans were chaos incarnate. Every movement, every decision was unexpected. "Chen, target their engines at maximum precision. Jax, lead them into the debris field ahead. Singh, reinforce shields in sync with evasive maneuvers," Elena ordered. The horizon darted through the void like a phantom. Enemy ships collided with debris, scrambled their formations, and faltered. Yet the alien flagship remained immense and terrifying, its energy pulses threatening to tear the horizon apart. Suddenly, Elena's mind raced through every lesson learned from previous battles. Humans survived because they connected dots others didn't see, noticed patterns others ignored, and acted when fear would freeze others. She saw the solution. Not brute force, not overwhelming weapons, but human intuition itself. "Jax," she said quietly, "we're going to do something they won't expect. Follow my lead, and trust every instinct." The Horizon's engines flared. Using gravitational calculations and careful timing, it weaved behind the alien flagship, hidden by asteroids and shadows. The enemy fired blindly, unable to anticipate the sudden strike. "Now, Chen, precision strike on their propulsion and command nodes." Mara's fingers moved with impossible speed. Energy beams struck the flagship in perfect synchronization. Engines faltered, weapons went offline, and the massive ship became helpless, drifting in the void. Arlo Singh rerouted power to the Horizon's decoy drones. They mimicked additional human ships, creating chaos in the enemy fleet. The remaining vessels, confused and leaderless, scattered into the darkness, unable to regroup. Jax stared in awe. "Captain, they can't handle us. Humans, we're everywhere at once." Elena's lips curved into a fierce smile. "We're humans. That's how we win. Not with size or numbers, but with courage, creativity, and unity." The final twist revealed itself. Among the enemy fleet, hidden for the entire campaign, was a doomsday device capable of annihilating the entire Tralara cluster. Other species would have panicked. Humans adapted. Elena's mind raced. She saw a solution where others saw only destruction. Using the Horizon's agility, the decoy drones, and precise timing, they lured the device away from inhabited systems. Then, in a breathtaking maneuver, the Horizon disabled the device's core with a carefully aimed energy pulse. The explosion, contained and controlled, eliminated the remaining alien vessels. Silence followed, thick and complete. The stars themselves seemed to pause. The Horizon floated in the aftermath, battered but victorious. Humans had done the impossible, saved the galaxy using courage, unity, ingenuity, and the very traits that made them